Oh, Man United are looking bad, man. They are looking...
Too nice.
It's grim.
Too nice.
It's grim, but American is the term sucks.
Oh.
No one really gets that in the UK. It's like, when they say it, it's to make fun of Americans.
Well,
sucks.
we're in America here.
Ah, we are.
So guess what? Man United sucks.
Yeah, they do suck. They are struggling at the moment, big time. Is it David Moyes bad? No.
No.
Is it Louis van Gaal bad?
Yep.
Signs of it.
Yep.
So let's take a look at the Europa League standings because, as we know, they fell victim to Fenerbahce. So they are now third in a group that they should be dismantling of these teams, no problem. Feyenoord ahead of them. So it's not like they're not going to qualify. They have great chances of going through, but they're making hard work of games that often people will make excuses. It's a Thursday night Europa League game. They're not really caring. Well, they look like they're caring when Pogba's banging in shots from distance against Fenerbahce at home and they're celebrating it as if this is the coming of Pogba, finally. And then they struggle once more. Defensive errors, lapses in concentration, poor decision-making, all things that a coach really can't do much about. This is why it's not going to be a Jose Mourinho is not the man for the job clip, which a lot of media outlets will give you. You're not going to get that here because that's just an easy excuse for Manchester United's problems. You can change 3-4 coaches, but there's a fundamental problem with these players. They do not care enough about this team, and they are struggling.
It doesn't end there. Premier League table shows you that they're possibly crashing out of the Europa League, and also a one more drop point away from falling out of the top 8. 8! 8, Francis.
Yeah. It's,
that run of form is atrocious. Draw, loss, draw. I mean, it's not like, getting relegated bad, but there's no excuse. There's no excuse for Watford to be ahead of Manchester United. No disrespect to Watford, but they're tied on points in the season with 15.
It's
That's
aesthetically
not good.
Not pretty. Like,
No,
I like
not.
that. Like, the draw and the losses are just greys
And reds. We like greens.
We want a green.
No
We want a
ambers.
nice green. We want a nice green. It's a problem. Their run of form at the moment is nowhere near good enough, especially when you're seeing teams like Chelsea really proving themselves in this point. But the one thing that I will state is that, yeah, it's early on. 10 games into the season. It's not exactly
It's not early enough on, though.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. It's not
not
the point.
2 games
it's not
in.
2-3 where you're like, they'll pick it up. 10 games. The points already, they've fallen behind Chelsea, fallen behind Manchester City, fallen behind Arsenal. Those are so tough to make up when you have a decent team, but even tougher when this team is trying to find their foot. They're trying to find their footing in amongst quicksand because this Premier League can't act like quicksand. It can suck you in. It can just dismantle your hopes.
Look what
it can
happened
tear you down.
Last season, Chelsea falls victim to getting into a 10-15 match slow start, dropping points, and also only gaining 1 point at a time through draws, and it put them so far back that they clawed their way back up.
Just enough to even make a top 10 respectable finish.
And that's how long it took. And Manchester United is 1 drop point away from being in that same situation because it's tough to watch them play. I can't believe this is something because it's not even quantitative and it's not that analytical. They have no heart.
Yeah, no, there's nothing else you can
there's
really
no
say.
there's no will. Like Arsenal this year we've talked about in their 10 matches are showing that they have some will to come back against tougher competition in tougher leagues.
Yeah.
Manchester United on that squad, on paper, there is zero excuse to lose any match in the Europa League. And I know on any given day the better team could show up and beat you. It happens. I get that. But that group, no offense to the rest of those teams, they don't have one player better on paper than anybody, I shouldn't say anybody, than most of the Manchester United squad. Fenerbahce has some talent. Not going to discredit them.
Former Manchester United players.
Former Manchester United players.
Van Persie.
Also, their Europa League, just their schedule, you can see through it, it's inconsistent. So this is number 7. They lost their opening match on September 15th. They pulled out a 1-0 victory 2 weeks later, and then they looked good against Fenerbahce. But then immediately, 2 weeks later, they drop those points, and once again, they have to beat a team that they lost to. At least they get to play at Old Trafford, and then they got to hit the road. It's not out of the question, even though I still believe they'll go through it as the second in the group.
Yeah.
It's not out of the question that if they don't pull out a win, 3 points, Feyenoord, is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, Feyenoord.
Feyenoord. If
Feyenoord
they don't pull out a win,
are
no.
confident that they can beat them. And if Manchester United lose that game, then I don't even think it's a problem for Manchester United fundamentally, because I think then they can focus on the Premier League, which is a much bigger issue at the moment. But these games, they should be used as games to try and work out the kinks, because there is clear kinks in this team, but they don't seem to be treating them. They're treating them with the exact same levels of inconsistency that they're showing in the Premier League. If you look at the teams that Manchester United have been playing recently, take away Manchester City and Liverpool, right? There's your big clashes in Chelsea, right? Your big clashes. How many points have you taken from that? 1 point from those big games against those teams. Look at how the teams that Liverpool have had to play. They have to play Arsenal. They had to play big-name teams, and they've done well against those teams.
They pulled more
Manchester
than 1 point.
United recently, in their recent dip of form, have lost or drawn with teams that they should not be drawn with, like teams that are mediocre in comparison to them, and losing and drawing at home, as we've seen recently. Yes, last weekend they had 38 shots. They should have been scoring, and it looked like it was an off day for them in front of goal, and an on day for the keeper, who was he looked like he grew 5 arms and was just clawing everything out. But you should not be relying on that. You should not be relying on the fact that you should be taking 38, 40 shots a game in order to try and score.
You should have
be
to
confident enough that you can
I
win.
get there's efficiency of shots. Again, just watch them play. This is an eye test. This doesn't have anything else to do. It's an eye test. It's one of the most common tests we use in all of sports. Does it look like they are going to score? Does it look like they have any threatening presence when they are trying? They don't bounce back on a counterattack. They have very like from what I've seen, and I was watching some of the Europa League yesterday, it's sloppy. And it doesn't make sense given the players they have. On top of all of that, add insult to injury, regardless how Pogba's run of form has been so far, he's hit the Man United injured list. I'm not sure what they call it in world football. Here it's the injured reserve or the PUP list. There's a bunch of different lists. He's out injured now. Their $89 million investment. And again, you got to get the best out of this guy at some point, or he's just going to be another, I don't want to say wasted space, but if it's not going to work, we're going to know that he'll be gone next year.
It'll be another Angel Di Maria. It'll be another Radamel Falcao. It'll be these players that have already came into Manchester United, who just seem to be a team that used to be the theatre of dreams to the theatre of ruining. Is
that what they're
no, it is the theatre of dreams.
Theatre of, come on, you
theatre
the
of
theatre of
dreams.
nightmare. Come on.
Well, now it's
nightmares.
Theatre of nightmares.
You said the theatre of ruining dreams.
Well, that's ruining my dream. I don't know if it's worse. What's worse, a nightmare or ruining a dream? Like, it's a dream where you, like, say for instance, you're in a dream where you've got everything in front of you, right? The whole world's in front of you. I'm just ready to pick up my Oscar. I've got Angelina.
That's your dream?
I've got Angelina Jolie giving me my Oscar, and then she just turns into like my grandma giving me a cup of tea, and that dream is ruined. I'm no longer there. It's not a nightmare. I like my grandmother. I like tea. I like hanging out with my family. It's still a nice thought, but it's not my dream.
Ridiculous.
It's not my dream.
Right.
So therefore, I'm hurt. My heart hurts. I'm just discouraged. Is that worse than a nightmare? Because a nightmare, you know what you're in for. It's going to be ghastly. It's going to be ghouls. It's going to be blood. It's going to be falling.
Clowns and spiders.
Clowns and spiders. Is that worse than a ruined dream? Jason, it's in the bottom of the ninth. You're ready to hit the home run.
And
that bat flies out
into
your
a
hand,
clown?
and you realize you're in a golf course and you're just hanging out with your friends.
I mean, these don't sound like really, like your idea of a ruined dream is like, I don't want to become a giant savage here, but like, it's like you're sitting there in the bottom of the ninth, you swing that bat, and instead of hitting anything, it just everything turns into a really creepy giant clown.
That's a nightmare.
Yes.
That's not a ruined dream. They're different.
All right. Well,
See what I mean? Because then you're comparing the same thing. All right, dream experts, dream catchers in the comments, let us know what you think of this. Is Manchester United's dream over of getting back into a decent run of form in the Premier League? Can they finish top 4? Where are they going to finish in the league at this point? Are they going to qualify from the Europa League? Is Jose Mourinho going to go grayer than Barack Obama after 8 years in presidency? That's my cue. I'll see you guys soon.